And this is what's interesting. 2016 election, maybe one of the most interesting elections of all time. Probably the most, in my opinion. But maybe that's recency bias. The two most popular candidates, Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders. What did they both do? They were both outsider candidates. Both of them had quote-unquote radical policies that they wanted to enact. But also, they both instilled hope in one side or the other. Bernie instilled hope into more of the young, populist, more far-left ideologies. Trump instilled a lot of hope in the Republican Party. So both of these instilled hope. Both of them were outsiders. And there's clear information that the DNC rigged 2016 election. You can look into it. There's lots of information on it.
And that's another thing nobody talks or cares about.
The fact that the DNC rigged it in favor of Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
And why would they do that? Why would they rather have an establishment candidate compared to a far-left declared socialist? I wonder. And this is coming
a lot of ulterior reasons, I feel like. But one thing that's interesting is that in reference to this election. Look at the Democrat side, for example. It's obvious, according to the results from the past election, that the popular choice among voters, among purple voters, if you will, people who don't lean to the left or right extremely, are outsider candidates, like Trump, for example. So 2020 comes around, you have a second chance to take the White House back after losing it to the Republicans via Trump. How do you get that back? Oh, let's try another old white politician who's been in office since the 70s. Do you think that that's going to work this election?
And if you notice, early in the election cycle, who was leading? Bernie. Bernie was the clear frontrunner.
Bernie Sanders, Pete Buttigieg was winning.
And if you look,
start of the race anyway.
And if you look at the media coverage of it, they were in panic. They were so scared that Bernie was going to be the Democratic nominee. They're like, "Oh my God, freaking out about it." And what happens after Super Tuesday? Pete Buttigieg, second in the race, had the second most delegates outside of Bernie. He drops out, immediately endorses Joe Biden.
That was after the South Carolina election.
Yep. Pete Buttigieg. I want to say Andrew Yang. I don't know if I think Andrew Yang might have endorsed Bernie, but I'm not positive. All these politicians, they drop out and immediately endorse Joe Biden, who at the time was fourth. And Joe Biden was never anybody's first choice. People who voted for Joe Biden were like, oh, well, there's fucking idiots. Whoever had Joe Biden as their first choice, I'm sorry, but dumb. If you look at Joe Biden, he clearly has something wrong with him. And I'm not saying that. This is coming from somebody who might lean slightly to the left. I consider myself sort of a centrist. But Joe Biden, there's clear problems. And if the Democratic Party really wanted to, reinvigorate the country, they could take him out and put somebody else on the ballot. I know it's probably not legal, but I'm just saying, hypothetically speaking, somebody who clearly has some sort of mental deterioration, and not only that, fucking sexual assault charges, things that people don't fucking like, and fucking celebrities are getting canceled. Everybody's like, because of sexual assault cases, and I'm proud of that. I'm okay with that. This is the fucking president of the United States. We have two rapists as fucking our choices. It's like two awful candidates again. It's disgusting. Just if they really cared about this, being the good, quote unquote good side, they would yank Joe Biden out and say, well, this motherfucker has dementia. How about we have somebody else? Maybe Bernie isn't a bad person to run against Trump, because if you even listen to Trump, I've heard quotes from Trump saying, I'm not worried about, and this isn't an exact quote, but this is me kind of paraphrasing. He's not scared of Joe Biden because he knows exactly what to say against Joe Biden. He has a full track record of all the shitty things that he's done.
He has an entire playbook ready for the debate stage.
He's worried about somebody like Bernie because he knows that his base is strong. all of the
No,
college
Trump
age
has
students.
literally said if I were to choose the DNC nomination, I'd choose Biden because I have a better chance of beating him. You know?
Yeah, and this goes back to him not being stupid. He knows. He
Oh,
knows
yeah.
a thing or two.
So he's like, go ahead, rig your election. I don't care. And that's the thing with a party is they can have elections, like primary elections, but at the end of the day, they can put in whoever they want.
Yeah, they got to plug whoever.
Bernie could have won every delegate available out of all the states, and they could have said, you know what, we're going to have a contested convention, and we're going to have somebody else go in. It would go against their own rules, I think, based on what I know. But they could do it at the end of the day because it's their party, you know?
It's disgraceful. It really is. And this is where I like rank-based voting. Numbering from 1 to 5. I think there's more chances of the right person getting elected.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if we had 5 options. You know, let's say we have Trump, Biden, Bernie, Elizabeth Warren, and fucking, I don't know, some other, like, Republican. You balance it out. Have 3 and 3. You know, have fucking Ted Cruz, Trump, I don't know, Bill Weld. He was the person running against Trump this year.
One that nobody ever heard of, but
yes.
Okay.
And then you put Bernie, Joe Biden, and Pete Buttigieg. And then maybe throw in a couple third-party people that nobody cares about. Have these people in there and rank them from 1 to 10, or 1 to 6 in this case. So you have this, you know, some of the people our age might put Bernie, Pete, Joe Biden, put Trump at the bottom, you know. The Republicans will put Trump and then rank them accordingly, you know. I like that idea. This person has, you know, 50,000 one-place votes, 100,000 second, you know, rank them.
Interesting, yeah.
That doesn't sound radical to me. That sounds like it's giving people more of a voice on who they really like. Because somebody like Joe Biden, he wouldn't have a lot of first-place votes. He wouldn't have a lot of second-place. He wouldn't have a lot of third-place votes. The people that voted for Bernie, people who voted for Pete, Elizabeth Warren, nobody had Joe Biden as their second option, at least from what I'm aware of.
No, I think you're right. But now it's interesting because you have, you know, people who are far left who are going to vote for Biden anyway, even though they don't like him. It's I believe I've heard it referred to as blue no matter who. And then you know, you have people who voted in the Democratic primary who are more purple that are just going to stay home. They're not going to vote. How many people you think voted for Bernie are going to vote for Biden? Half, 40%, 20%.
When Bernie dropped out, there was a wait, and this is at BU, a very progressive school. When Bernie dropped out, I talked to a lot of people who were very, very angry that Joe Biden was going to be the nominee because we're like, God fucking help us. Because nobody has hope with Joe Biden. The Republicans, they have hope with Trump because they fucking love him no matter what he does. But with Bernie, there's actual hope there. People are actually optimistic with some of his policies. I know you're not keen on some of his policies, such as free healthcare, but his policies instill hope in some of the Americans that...
Oh, it certainly does.
And I like a lot of his policies. But, you know, the DNC, those who dictated the 2016 election, are doing the same thing with the 2020 election. And what could very well happen is 4 more years of Trump because of it, because of their own incompetence. While Trump knows who to appeal to, his base, the Democrats have no idea what the people of that party want. They only want what's going to keep those people in power. Yeah. Those, the Clintons of the world, the Chuck Schumers of the world, the Andrew Cuomos of the world, the schmuck politicians, the ones that we all hate. And honestly, this has been America the entire history of them. There's been corrupt politicians. I mean, I know it's not just an American thing, but throughout American history, fucking Boss Tweed, that jackass, all of these corrupt politicians that have littered our country for the last 250 years. That's really what America's defined as, in my opinion. Thanks for watching this clip from the Everything Under the Sun podcast. If you want to listen to the full podcast, you can go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else you get your podcast. To watch more segments from the show, you can follow our Instagram page, our Facebook page, or subscribe to our YouTube channel at Everything Under the Sun.